Still watching today with myself, Mfundo Mabalani. Now, civil society movement We Are South Africans wants Environment Minister Barbara Creecy and Energy Minister Gwede Mantashe to be placed on immediate special leave. They've written a letter to President Cyril Ramaphosa asking him to do so. The ministers are accused of turning a blind eye to natural disasters while lacking transparency. The movement claims for a government-funded oversight committee to assess permits granted by the Department of Mineral Resources and its agencies while under the tenure of Minister Gwede Mantashe. For more on this, let's speak now to founder Martin Gilbert. Martin, thank you very much for your time this afternoon. Now, as an organization, you're calling for President Cyril Ramaphosa to create an oversight committee to assess permits granted by the Department of Mineral Resources. What shortcomings have you observed in the current process?
Hi. The main shortcoming is obviously the inclusion of communities and South Africans and relevant stakeholders. The ministers and the processes involved do not include people. They do not include relevant communities, and this is a detrimental effect on the environment, as we've observed. What concerns me is also looking at the disasters that have occurred under their watch, that there's not enough monitoring and not a quick enough response to the appeals and requests to help from the communities when these disasters have occurred.
You know, very often when we do speak to the department, they are quick to stress that in fact, they do engage the communities, but perhaps at times they cannot meet each other halfway. Is that enough of a reason on your part?
No. When they say they meet with these communities, it's very important that they also consult with South African scientists. We have many students that have just left universities and have obtained years of degrees, wasted their life and their savings to do this. And, you know, we are relying on foreign research and not local research. So when they go there to the communities and they promise them these jobs and development as they have done, none of this materializes. When the disasters happen, Mfolozi recently is a very good example of that. The people are crying out to organizations like us to assist them. There's just a blatant, absolute disregard for the well-being of communities and the benefit of communities. And in that light, we are saying that we feel something is politically connected and someone else is getting the benefits of this, just like straight capture. And the real benefit is never for any South African.
And then ideally, when we speak of this oversight committee, who should it comprise of and what exact role would it play?
Just a first correction, we are requesting the president to establish a process to create it.
Yes.
What we don't want is any government involvement in it. So it will comprise organizations like ourselves, like Democracy in Action, Put South Africans First, environmentalists, scientists, and most importantly, the communities who will then decide on, have a much better, insightful explanation and public participation process before these unilateral decisions by the ministers are made. Being informed, the pros and the cons. Most people think that we're coming from a perspective of rejecting everything that they're saying needs to be done. We are not. We are simply saying include us, include the people, and in our essence, the 15 million South Africans that we reach are extremely unhappy that they are not included on these decisions, and it's costing us all money to try and solve the problem now when we could have solved it around a table before any of this had happened.
What happens if perhaps the president rejects the request to actually establish or start the process for the establishment of this oversight committee? Where to then? Because he could easily respond that, you know what, we have enough resources. If things are not working at this point, perhaps you need to tweak what is there currently.
Well, if the president decides that that's the route he takes, I think he's made a statement to the people of South Africa that whatever you think is important is not important to us, and we don't feel the need to discuss with you what we are deciding we think you need. Then the campaign will unfortunately have to take another perspective, and I do believe I have enough angry people to resolve this the way that our country generally resolves these situations when we are not heard.
So there's a possibility of taking to the streets, I suppose that's what you're stating.
Correct.
And then on the petition...
That's definitely correct.
And then on the petition front, I know you've also tried that avenue. The petition specifically objecting to the seismic survey planned of the West Coast. How has the uptake been on that one?
Very well, given that we haven't really requested much media assistance. We've only asked the communities and the environmentalists and, some very small publications to say, help us promote this petition. And there's a very valid reason why we didn't do that and why we didn't spend money at all, actually, to do this petition, is because we want to show the courts that it's actually very simple to get the public to participate. You don't have to spend hundreds of millions of rands on consulting fees to do so.
And then for those who might want to join in on your cause, how do they reach you at this point?
The easiest way is to get to our website, www.wearesouthafricans.com. It directs to our social media page. And from there, all our actions are taken at this point. And we are in litigation with the companies involved in the seismic survey specifically. We don't want our resources and environment, which is the core of most of our industries, to suffer anymore. And we want to see the benefit of these minerals and jobs that are being created actually be for South African people who need it most.
No, we'll also most certainly extend an invite to those companies to get their version and perhaps just go through their data and just find out if, in fact, they had done enough research before this survey. But thank you very much. That is We Are South Africans Movement, Gilbert Martin.